Hey, welcome everybody. You are tuning into Black Coffee, Honey and Grits. We are live and in person, and we're here to talk to you about a hot coffee topic this today, on this day, at this moment. I am Carmel Jean-Francois, owner and founder of CFIT Coaching, owner and founder of CFIT Coaching, working with women over 40 on their health and wellness goals. Check out my YouTube. I'm going to pass it over to you, Maisha. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, this is Maisha and I am the owner of Sensual Energy Alchemy. I am a teacher of sensual feminine embodiment for women who are ready to release shame and fear around sex and own their sensual power, their sovereignty, and just feel juicier in their bodies. Over to you, Dr. Janicia.
Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Jamesia, the nurse practitioner extraordinaire. I'm also your intermittent fasting and mindset coach. I am your YouTube influencer, speaker, author, all the things. And I guess I'm owner of Von Capri and drjamesia.com. And yeah, I'll just pass it on. Oh, and I'm 1/5 of Black Coffee, Honey and Grits. I'll pass it to you, Jamika.
Hey everybody, I'm Jamika Anderson. I'm CEO and owner of Harmony and Power Institute, where I help women and children who lack confidence and clarity achieve harmony and power within themselves so they can create the life they desire. And I'm passing it to you, Carmel, so we can get this party started.
All right. Thank you for that. Thank you. All right, ladies, you know what? So sometimes I think about some of the things that's happened to me in the past few days. And I had a friend come across to me and said, if you do XYZ, you will hurt my feelings. And I said, wait, how is my actions going to hurt her feelings? Especially since I wasn't saying anything or doing anything to her directly. It was, of course, something that included a conflict of interest. However, her merely saying that my action would hurt her feelings really started thinking, who has the ultimate power over our feelings? Do we have power over our feelings, or do we pass over power to other people to hurt our feelings? I was in a relationship many years ago. I was 20-nothing years old. And this guy, I felt he said something to hurt my feelings. And I told him, he says, I didn't hurt your feelings, you hurt your feelings. And it was there, wow, that a moment of clarity. I said, he is exactly right. How did I just give him power, so much power over me? I gave his words so much power to hurt my feelings. And at that moment, I just thought to myself, you know what? No, never again. I will always at least be mindful. If my feelings should get hurt for any particular reason, I know and understand it's because of my perception of what's happening, and that all has to do with me, because we've all been in a situation where maybe somebody said something to us and we perceived it incorrectly and immediately taken offense or had our feelings hurt. And then maybe we bring it up to that person later on and we say, remember when you said XYZ? That really hurt my feelings. And the person's like, I mean it like that. And then all of a sudden, a moment of clarity, and everybody kind of walks away. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I thought this about you. Say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say what I said to hurt your feelings. Next time, I'll watch what I say. But ultimately, does that person actually hurt our feelings, or do we have control over whether or not our feelings get hurt? Can I say, you know what, he just said that to me, and that was an asshole thing to say, but I'm not going to let it affect me like that. So what do you all think? Let me start with you, Jamika. Or anybody. Actually, this is a free for all. Let's just have a conversation.
I wanted to go, so I'm good with it. Okay, so a couple of things, right? So one, look, I'm trying to decide where I want to start off. But one, I think it's so funny because as you were talking, I remember having this conversation with like my dad, and he was like, how do you think that makes me feel? Or how do you think, people would think about X, Y, and Z? And, it was in a little confrontational type of situation. And I was like, well, I don't know your feelings unless you express them, number one. And I don't know what other people think, because if it's only a conversation between me and you, who cares what other people think? You know what I'm saying? So I think some of the things that come up for me is this idea that we don't communicate properly. And I think that because of our lack of communication, or the lack of skills to properly communicate, a lot of things get mixed up, and we at the end of the day are the ones who are in control of our feelings, are in control of expressing ourselves. And because we don't express ourselves, or because we don't clarify with people, or we're afraid to clarify, that's what causes a lot of issues. You get what I'm saying? In situations, in relationships. And of course, even with someone saying like, you hurt my feelings, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But what I do feel like is that that's not my responsibility. Like, you can tell me what exactly hurt your feelings. Like, was it my tone? Was it my, was it the words that was expressed? What was it? Because if it's just the words that's expressed, and it's just kind of like, no, you are feeling that way, because it's almost like a whooping. You know what I'm saying? It's a reprimand. Because most of the time when you get your feelings hurt, it's because somebody said or did something that you just didn't like. And at the end of the day, that's not a part of me. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not intentionally trying to hurt your feelings. I'm not intentionally trying to be nasty towards you. So, you have to be able to differentiate all of those things. And then I had a guy recently, like a couple months ago, not too recent, but he kind of said like what your guy friend said. He was like, you feeling that way. And it was in text message, so it was like even more cutthroat, because y'all know how text messages sometimes can come across. But it was like, if you're feeling that way, it's because you chose to feel that way. I didn't do anything to you. Like, your mind was already set up to feel that way. And it was because I was actually,
I don't know, Jamaica. That's bullcrap sometimes, though, because sometimes people are assholes and they're trying to make you feel a certain way. I don't care. I get what you and Carmel are saying, but sometimes people are intentionally trying to be assholes, and it hurts.
I think that's why it needs clarity, though, because at the end of the day, even if a person is being an asshole, why is it that your feelings get hurt versus you saying stop trying to be an asshole? You get what I'm saying? Because a lot of it comes from parental reprimanding you, saying this is how you should be doing, and pretty much not allowing you to be you. So because you couldn't express yourself, now you have a hard time later in life trying to get your point across, or trying to do what, you know what I'm saying? Like, no offense, I'm finna take it here, but no offense. Maisha, one of the people who just don't be giving a fuck. And she, excuse my language, but she will say whatever she got to say, and everybody else be like, well, she's like, no, I'm gonna say what I got to say. I'm gonna get it off my chest. And she was like, I mean, you take it how you want to take it, but I'm gonna get it off my chest, and I'm gonna say how I feel. And sometimes we can get our feelings hurt by it, but she's still expressing herself, whether her feelings are hurt, your feelings hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of it is just a lot of energy and motion. So you're, you know what I'm saying? Is that
I do. I know what you're saying. I hear you. I do. And I am on the same page a little, but I'm kind of on the other page too, because I also think that there's levels to it, Jamaica. And I I do. I think there's levels, because I feel like, depending on where we are in our relationship, whether it's my girlfriends, my girls, my business partner, my mama, my daddy, my grandmother, if you coming off the top stairs and you saying something crazy to me, I'm not gonna be like,
top stairs.
yeah, I'm not gonna be like, okay, let me focus. Okay, am I gonna decide to be hurt or not? Heck no, I'm gonna be like, damn, that hurt me. Like, what are you doing? Why are you coming off like that? I mean, I think there's levels to it. Although I get what you're saying, depending on where you are in this journey called life, how you're going to respond. But Jamaica, I don't know. I don't know about all that. If we're in a relationship together and you saying something crazy, and I'm like, all right, am I going to feel a certain way or not? I don't know. I agree and don't agree.
I hear you.
I fall. No, go ahead, Carmel.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I'm somewhere in the middle of it because I understand what you're saying. Using my Virgo tongue as the example, but I think there are a couple of assumptions that would need to be made. If you're interacting with someone, the first is that the two people have a level of awareness where communication is a skill. So you can say something to someone, and the receiver is at a certain level where they can hear all of the communication and understand it's not personal. Now that's just not most people. I mean, it's just really not most people. And what I have said to people sometimes who take like offense is a big thing, who take offense to something, is I'll ask them, well, what is it about the thing that you heard that hurt your feelings? Was it what was said? Was it the way it was said? What did you hear when they said it? Because if I call somebody, and I've used this example before, if I'm trying to offend somebody and I'm like, you big blue alien, most people are gonna be like, oh, that's not me. Like, what is she talking about? You know, okay. But if I'm like, I mean, look, if I'm like, oh, you just an ugly bitch. Now they, well, are you though? To Tamika's point, like, are you? And if you're not, then what is it that are your feelings hurt because you're mad that I think you're that? Right? And how much, and to what Carmel was saying, how much power then do I have over you? Right? If I think that. Now, if you're in a close relation, there are people who will say some things, just to Dr. Jamesia's point, who are just like, I don't care. I know this hurts somebody. In that situation, it becomes a conversation of, all right, what you just said there, right? That hit me a way that is not comfortable for me. So we need to figure out a different way to communicate, right? It's on the person to say that. If the other person time and time again insists on not falling in line, goodbye. So there are a lot of, like, there are levels to this, right? And who is talking, who is receiving, know your audience, what level are they at? Like, where some people you can't have conversations and just say things to, and it's up to the person talking to kind of know that too. This is a lot of personal responsibility, having these steps, saying this stuff to people.
And so to Carmel's point, or Carmel's question, who is responsible? I think there's two people. I think there's a responsibility on both parts. Now, if there's no invested interest with that person, then okay, the responsibility is really mine. But if you're trying to have this relationship with someone, i.e. your guy, Carmel, then both of you have a responsibility in the way you communicate, rather, and if you're feeling, I think it's valid to say, hey, you hurt my feelings, or it feels like you meant to hurt my feelings when you say it, because I felt it in my body, or however you want to say it. But if they keep communicating to you over and over that, no, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, or whatever, there's a tricky thing to that too, because I feel like some people can manipulate and know that they're doing a certain thing, but make you think that you're crazy and they're not doing it, but they are. So, I mean, there's a lot to that too, but I think there's a responsibility on both sides. Yeah. I do think there's levels, and I do think that we really do need to start thinking along the lines of communicating. Yeah. And communicating, hey, that hit me wrong, or hey, that hurt my feelings. But again, I feel like there's levels. So, and that's just my perspective, just mine.
But that's what I mean, but I feel like that's exactly what I was saying though at the same time, is that, for the most part, you are responsible for your feelings, but it's not to negate the fact that other people aren't hurting you know what I'm saying? That other people, what they're doing and what they're saying, that the communication isn't being had properly. Because some people can tell you one thing and you can just make an assumption for something else, right? So you could be like, oh, I don't want to go to your mama house right now. And then all you hear is, oh, this person don't like my mama. You get
Can't
what I'm
stand
saying?
your mama.
Can't
Can't
say you
stand your
can't,
mama.
right. Or somebody be like, your mama food ain't that, your mama ain't clean, so I ain't eating over there. And you hearing your mama ain't clean, you ain't clean, that's why you can't cook. Like, you know what I'm saying? And my feelings hurt because you don't, or I don't eat sweet potatoes. Oh, so now you don't want my grandmama's sweet potato pie recipe? You trying to say it's trash? Like, we
That's a
do
level though,
have to be
Jamaica.
mindful. Say it again.
I said that's a level thing too, though, right?
Yeah, but that's all I'm saying
Yeah.
is that I'm just throwing stuff out there for y'all. You was
Yeah.
trying to make it seem like I was all the way. Look, you was trying to see I was all the way left. I'm
I'm
just
trying to
saying
say
to
that you were
look
all the
at.
way left. I was just saying I don't agree.
Communication right there.
Yes, how about that? Yeah. So what I'm hearing is the different levels. Yes, the the investment in the relationship, and which parties would have to take responsibility for what was said, how it was perceived, how it was taken, etc. And I feel to a certain extent, still though, in my initial example was that my doing a thing should not uh, translate to hurting your feelings, and in which case I should take no responsibility. If your feelings are hurt by a decision that I made to take a certain action, let's just say a decision to um, go away to college, and or a decision. Okay, let's take this example. 4 years ago, my sister got married, and it was very quick. My sister and I, we share a condominium apartment together. We share all the bills. Her decision to get married would leave me in 100% 100% responsible for all the bills from my apartment. And is that supposed to hurt my feelings? Should my feelings be hurt? No, my sister was obviously making a life decision to marry the person that she loves, and it had nothing to do with me, so that can't hurt my feelings. However, if I choose to have my feelings hurt by that, I am 100% responsible. That's how I take it. My sister was not, her intention was not to hurt my feelings. Her intention was just to be happy and live her life. And in turn, I'm huffing and puffing. Well, now I got to pay the mortgage, and now I got to pay the gas and electric, and you hurt my feelings. So I was looking at it in that respect as well.
Well, I have a
But-
story.
but-
I have a similar story to that, Carmel, when you're done.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so same exact example, right? So I had moved out on my own with a friend of mine from high school, and we moved into our own place in July. The place was great. We know we were worried about not getting along. We got along well, right? And then I started seeing the man who would become my husband, and I started seeing him in October. Now I knew my friend. I knew her well. I knew that she did not want to live alone. And we made an agreement to live there for a year. However, I started seeing my ex-husband in October. I ended up moving in with him in December. Now, I still paid my half of the rent. I still paid the bills. Financially, I did the things. But for her, and that ended our friendship. That was really it. I mean, I've seen her once since then when I came back to New York, and I apologized again, but she never recovered from that. I broke her sense of trust and what it meant to be a friend, and in her mind, there was no tag. I mean, I really want to live alone, but I'm so happy for you. It wasn't that it was, you left me and you knew that I didn't want to live alone. Right. So in that case, I did hurt her feelings, and there was, even though she was in my wedding, but there wasn't any coming back from that situation. So again, it depends on the people.
And I think so too, Maisha. And I would like to ask Carmel, even though you say that your sister was not responsible and she didn't whatever. It sounds like your feelings were hurt.
My feelings weren't hurt. I remember feeling like, okay, Carmel, time for you to step it up.
Mm-hmm.
My feelings weren't hurt. The reason why I brought that up is because my sister went through a moment of feeling guilty and trying to make sure that I was okay financially. So initially, just like you, Maisha, she continued to pay half of the mortgage. She continued. And later on, like even till this day, she'll ask me if I need certain things. I'm like, no, sis, you do so much for me. And she's like, I'm still feeling that guilt. And that was the first time. This was recently, like within the last 3 or 4 weeks. She's telling me about this guilt that she had when she decided to get married and leave me financially responsible for the apartment. And I was like, that. She was like, but that's why I just kept paying. That's why I just that, and all of those things. And I can honestly say that no, my feelings weren't hurt. We can talk about this another day. I was just more concerned about the fact that my sister was getting married to this dude that she just had started dating. I was like, wait.
By the way, you look more like her today than you ever have to me.
I was thinking that.
Oh, wow. It must be maybe the hair. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where that came from, Dr. Jamesia, if I'm being completely honest.
Okay.
I ain't feel no guilt, but what up, girl? If you ever see this podcast,
Oh,
I do. I still love her. But no, I think that I do think that as we talked about the levels. So I don't have people in my life that I can't have honest communication with at this stage. It takes just a few times, not even a few times, for me to sniff out if you're the type of person who takes everything personally, which is really what that is, right? You are so insecure or you need people to really validate you or see you a certain way. I can tell very quickly if you're that type of person. And then we really just can't be friends, because it means that I'm going to always have to try and monitor what I'm saying based on whatever's happening or how you're fluctuating or flowing. And to me, that's a big no. But I'm also clear with people as much as I possibly can be on, this is who I am, this is how I communicate, this is what it means. And I'm down for just talking things out if it needs to be talked out. But I think we all reach a certain level, well, not all of us, but as you mature, you reach a certain level where you can't really hang out with somebody who, if you give them the honest truth about something, like they ask you for the truth, you give them the truth, and then their feelings are hurt by the truth. So you want me to lie to you, but you want me to pretend not to lie to you. And that's too confusing. That doesn't make any sense. I love with us, I had a question. I was like, so what do we do in here? I can honestly say, I don't think my feelings have been so hurt by any of you that I remember it to bring it up. But what do we do when someone says something in here that hurts our feelings? Has that happened?
My microphone working? There we go.
Yes.
Can y'all hear me now? I've been sitting up here talking to myself. I feel like first off, I was gonna say, your friend got to learn how to get over herself, because you was steady trying to pay the bills and all that. That's all my concern would be. Just like Carmel, like, what the heck? What is extra money coming from? But look, and can you stop by every now and again? Look, have a sleepover once in a while. Hello, you ain't got to sleep with a man every day. Dang. But bring me some company every now and again. Can we get at least 3 times a month or something? I don't know. Look, let's talk about this thing. I mean,
so much more to that story that we can discuss another time.
Listen, I believe so. I believe you. But in this space, I feel like sometimes, y'all know I'm the baby and I'm the one who learning how to use their voice. As much as I come up on here and I be so loud and boisterous, I'm the one learning how to use their voice. And so a lot of times I get my feelings hurt, and I have to check myself though. Like, are you the one who's in control of hurting your feelings? Like, did they really say something to hurt your feelings, or is it just you? Like, what are you really upset about? Okay, like, was that meant to be petty or spiteful or whatever it is? Like, and then is okay, how do you feel? And these are just conversations that I have to have with myself.
how are you feeling? And then how can you express that? Because as of right now, you're just going to be holding it in. And like what you've learned before, you hold stuff in and then you all of a sudden want to blow up. And that's not how you deal with other individuals. So for me, it's about first identifying why I'm really upset or why my feelings are really hurt or what that emotion is. Because sometimes we'd be like, oh, our feelings are hurt. And sometimes it's just this idea of maybe I just feel like I'm not being heard. Maybe people are over talking me. Maybe people are taking my words and using it as their own. Or maybe I'm in a place where I'm uncomfortable and I'm abandoning myself. So there's a lot of different things that could be going on in this idea of my feelings are hurt, and people have to explore that. And so for me personally, I explore those things because I need to make sure that it's a me thing, or is it something I really need to have a conversation with these other people. And then I bring that to you guys. If it's something that I just can't work out for myself, I'm like, hey, this is how I'm feeling and why, or this was what was said, and I'm clarifying. So like even what I used with the boy, when I was trying to clarify, and I'm like, should I take this as you trying to make me beg for your attention, or should, or do you really just need this many reminders? You get what I'm saying? Because some people really just need that, like they just off a little bit. Their brain just ain't there. So, and then that's what I said, because I'm feeling some type of way. His response was, you just feel some type of way, like I've been expressing to you, like, X, Y, and Z. So like some of those things, like I have to also take into consideration. And I think with women, at least with this group of women, when I do bring it to the table, it's much more so for clarification. And it's like, hey, you guys, I don't like how I felt about X, Y, and Z, or this is why I don't like it, or, whatever it is. Because like, again, what I said is I try to work it out with me first and see if it's just a me thing, or is this, or I'm bringing it to you so we can all be aware and cognizant. Because if it continues to happen, like what you guys were talking about, if this is something that continues to happen, then our relationship isn't going to flourish the way that it needs to be, because then I'm going to be resentful, and that side of me you probably don't want to see, because then I'm going to become all these other things. I'm going to be petty, I'm going to be spiteful, I'm going to be, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to go off into that negative energy. And then what good is that going to be at the end of the day?
Mm-hmm. There's something that you said, Jamika, and I think this is kind of what Dr. Jamisi was alluding to. So if we and we're all guilty of it, I've done it myself, but if we don't express and then we hold on to something, and now we come back with our communication in a way that's, the other person said something that might not have been on purpose, like they weren't trying to do anything, but the discussion was never had. Now the receiver actually comes back with what Dr. Javicia was saying, right? And then it's like, well, then where's the responsibility? Because the first person was just like doing what they do, but they were never checked. Mm-hmm. But the second person is now purposefully being spiteful, vindictive, whatever. And we've all, like, I know I've done it, right? And then it's okay, well then, where now the first person's feelings are hurt, and they're like, I don't know what happened. What just happened here? I have no clue. And I think that happens more often than anything else. Someone acts out of whatever, someone takes offense, nothing is actually said, the offended person reacts to it, and now the other person's feelings are really hurt, and it was just the first offense was never addressed to begin with. Y'all get what I'm saying? Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like I can give an example to it as well. So in my last job, the police officer that worked there had approached me about what some of the kids were saying. And he was like, hey, the kids are saying that you said X, Y, and Z. And I was like, if that's what you believe, then believe them. That was my response, because you're coming to me about some he say, she say from children. Like, I don't have time for that. Like, I work here. My hours is from this to this. This is my job, what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. But I said, if that's what they said and you believe them, then believe them. Like, for me, it's not, that's what they're telling you. And what he was saying should not have been repeated or said anyway. As an adult, a child come to you and say, oh, well, let's say, for instance, oh, well, you know, she doesn't like this job and she'll do what she want to do. She's like, F this job. Let's say that's it. Why are you allowing a child to even use that type of language with you instead of checking a child, or you know what I'm saying? And then whatever else, the conversation, why is this child even feeling that comfortable with you? And you just started working here. You know, like it's so many conversations behind all of these things, but you come to another adult just to question them about them not liking you or not liking a job or not whatever it is. Like, if you believe it, you believe it. So that was the first time that it happened. The second, well, there was some other things that were said, but the second time he was like, he came in, he talked to the kids about safety, not opening the doors, you know, whatever have you, not opening classroom doors or whatever have you. Like the teacher has to go and open the door. After he left talking to the kids about it, he comes back into the classroom. That's less than 15 minutes with someone else, another administrator. He comes back into the classroom and he he goes, well, I heard that you said, and he goes back to bring all this other stuff about what he's been hearing. And so of course I'm sitting there, y'all know me, I'm a little petty too, y'all, so don't mind it. But I'm sitting there and I'm listening to him, and as he's talking and he's saying what he has to say, but it's this idea that he wants to be this authoritative role. Like you know, because you can start, when you get to a certain level, you can start seeing what people's problems really are. It's not what's being said, it's not really how it's being said. It's this idea that you feel like you're being challenged somewhere. You get what I'm saying? So he came in the room, he's boisterous, he's like, well, I heard you said this, he's cursing, he's doing all this stuff. And I was like, sir, whatever you've heard outside of my classroom, again, if you believe it, then it's true. Oh, well, you just look like you don't give a F. You just look like this, then da 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 da. I said, sir, if you're done, you know, now's the time for me to get my students. So is there anything else? You get what I'm saying? But that was what was making him upset. And he's like roaring in front of, mind you, I'm sitting down. I'm just observing like what's happening. And so needless to say, to end it all, because y'all probably like, you need to tell us what had happened, what really was said. But anyway, so after all of the things were said and done, he was trying to say like, I'm here to protect the school, I'm here to be this protector. And you know, you telling the students that you don't care about what I say or what the principal says or what this says, that and the other is a problem. And I felt some kind of way. And I asked him, I was like, if it's your job, to write me up or to reprimand me, I was like, first I said, is it your job to reprimand me? He was like, well, I can write you up. I was like, well, if it's your job to write me up, then write me up. I was like, but with this conversation, I don't have anything to add to what you're saying. Cause he was really trying to bait me into saying some stuff that I didn't say. You get what I'm saying? And so then he went to yelling and doing whatever he had to say. But I told him, I was like, hey, go ahead and do your job. This is just like how I was talking. I was like, hey, do your job. If you feel that I've done something that wasn't what I needed to do, then do your job and that's fine. But then I felt some kind of way because I was like, number one, you've come into my classroom twice within 15 minutes to talk about the same thing that you just talked about 15 minutes ago. And you've addressed some things previously that I already told you. If you believe it to be true, write it up and do what you need to do. But I didn't do anything. You get what I'm saying? So what you're coming in here for doesn't make sense to me. But the fact that you feel so comfortable to come in and you haven't spoken to my administrator, you know, you haven't spoken to the boss, like, who are you? So I addressed it with my administrator first. And I was like, hey, this just happened. And she was like, why is he even in your classroom? You get what I'm saying? So, of course, and I told y'all I'm very petty and vindictive because I felt some kind of way. And I was like, before I go to get this man job, because, you know, I like to go for the jugular, I'm going to go and make sure that, you know, the conversation is being had. So then I also had to go to the principal and I had to express those things to him as well. Like, hey, this is how I feel. You know, I feel that this man trying to threaten me. I feel that, you know, he's, you know what I'm saying? He's trying to do more than what his job entails. You know, he's trying to do all these other things. Whatever I felt, I expressed that so that we have clarity that he should not be talking to me. if he has a problem, he needs to go to you and express those things to you, because his job is not to be a leader of mine. You get what I'm saying? Your job is to make sure that nobody's coming onto campus and threatening the campus, not to harass teachers. And so that was kind of like one of those things that you're saying, that if you don't make those things clear, because most people in their job probably would have agreed with a police officer, apologized to him, probably would have been scared to go talk to an administrator. You get what I'm saying? Because a lot of people are afraid of losing their job. They're afraid of stepping on toes or whatever else. But for me, it's this equal, this equal opportunity. Like, let's all maintain this work balance. You get what I'm saying? Be respectful to each other, because you shouldn't be cursing at me. You don't know me. You shouldn't be cursing at me. That's not your job to be correcting me. You get what I'm saying? It was so many different things that was not right in that situation.
And
so go ahead.
Ultimately, were your feelings hurt? Like what?
No, I was going to go for the jugular. Like, my feelings probably was hurt, but more so I was ready to be petty and to take his whole life from him. Like, not like literally, but like get your job. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing about that lack of communication type thing. Like, if I really wanted to be, like, I was frustrated. You get what I'm saying? But if you coming for me the way that you coming for me, like, let me go ahead and help you understand that you threatening my job, I'm gonna threaten yours.
Yeah.
Like,
sounds like yes.
look,
Yeah.
like, don't come for me, because I didn't send for you.
All right. Well, all right. So I think I have a lot of clarity around this now.
Do you really?
No, she don't. She like, let's wrap this up.
We just did that.
That's what I was gonna say before Jamaica's examples. I'm just kidding, but
See, she did be a petty.
No, but no, I get you. And and the idea of it is the conversation around feelings is so multifaceted, and there's a lot of different levels to it. There's a lot of different hierarchies to it, depending on who's involved, the level of the friendship, and exactly what is being discussed, or what is happening, what's transpiring to potentially offend somebody, disappoint somebody, or actually hurt somebody's feelings. So so I think that was a good conversation, and I appreciate everybody's input. So with that said, I think we're wrapping it up, right? We've discussed this, yeah?
I'm good. We can.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, I think ultimately, yes, we are responsible for our feelings, but more than anything, we're responsible for making sure communication is had, it's being received the way that the receiver wants it received. The way that the communicator wants it to be received, and if it's not, to, of course, let that person know. And that way, I guess that's where the growth happens. As far as being in charge of your feelings, it's the communication that you have with someone. It's the communication that Jamaica was trying to say that needed to be had with the right person about the situation that was happening, in order for everybody to feel comfortable in their positions.
And so with Jamaica, with your explanation, it goes to show you that sometimes it's, even if this is ultimately being dealt by the two people, sometimes you need those outside forces, like the communication to be had with the right person, just like Dr. Jamisa was saying. And that was an integral part of how you received what you received, and had to kind of like dish it out so that they can understand where you were coming from.
And because people weren't coming, ultimately she felt disrespected.
Yeah.
Feelings got involved. Ultimately, I don't know that it was ever resolved, but of course, Jamaica, but that's all. I feel like communication is huge.
It's a big skill.
Yeah.
And it's a skill that most people don't have. We're used to communicating with how our families communicate, which is not how the world communicates. I mean, I've learned and still continue to learn about communication, and I check myself just working with the four of you in Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. I'm the eldest child and I'm the eldest grandchild. There was no checking me. There was rarely checking me for any particular thing. And so everything I did was just in one. So I just ran amok. And I've had to learn, okay, like, Jamaica was saying, yeah, there's some things you say, you might not need to say them, number one. Number two, know who you're talking to. Like, learn your audience, learn how other people need to hear certain things, even if there's something that you feel needs to be said, and it's still a fail all the time. But it's a growth process, and I think the difference is when people are willing, you can tell when someone's willing to grow and learn you and learn your communication style, learn to say, I'm sorry, or my bad, or, maybe I should try to do something differently, versus people who really just don't care to figure out how to communicate with somebody in a way that helps them to be understood. And I was listening to someone, I can't remember where it was, but they were saying if two people are communicating, it is okay, this is what it is. If two people are communicating, it is the communicator's responsibility to relay the message in a way that the receiver can receive it. It is not the receiver's responsibility to receive it properly. So if I'm communicating with someone and they don't get it, I need to find a different way to say it until they get it. It is on the person who is starting the process to communicate properly. So there's really the answer to the question. So if I say something and someone's feelings are hurt, yes, they need to check their own, however that activated them, for sure. But clearly I did not communicate to them in a way that their ear could hear it. And so I also still have to check myself to see how I said what I said. I said what I said and say it in a way that makes sense to them. So that's why we have to learn each other's languages.
And if we give a damn or not,
right,
it's gonna be like I said what I said.
Right. Right.
Exactly. Okay. All right. So what are we doing? We're doing outros and like wrapping up the conversation.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks for joining us here at Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits, and check out our other episodes. And with that, does anybody else want to leave any parting words? No? And that's it. Thanks for joining us. Peace.
Bye, y'all.